Hi Aries, and welcome to your reading for January. Thanks for tuning in. Please join me while I shuffle. Connect with your higher self and guides. Ask them to tune in and check in with my higher self and guides so that we can create a feedback loop. By the way, the messages that come through here today will be tailored for you. You may want to grab some headphones as well so that you can really limit the amount of distraction going on around you. Please don't multitask while you're watching this reading. I want to make sure that you make the most out of your time here with me and you're not missing out on really important messages that your guides are trying to pass on to you. So let's take a look at the general energy available during this time. This video is relevant whenever you watch it, and if the messages resonate, take what you need, leave the rest behind. Aries. Excuse me. All right. Aries, there's some really interesting things coming through in this reading. There's a lot of court cards in your spread. The bottom of the deck is Nine of Swords in reverse. So my first feelings, my first impressions as I was putting this spread down is that you may have been recently interacting with someone that could have been a potential partner. there could have been a feeling of like a really resonant match with an individual that you've been communicating with, that you've been kind of, what's the right word there? Getting to know, you know, like someone that you've been getting to know. There may have been some like feelings of like bright and excited potential. And you may have been feeling very much like in alignment with this person. This feels to me like a love reading, partly because the Ace of Cups here is in the crowning card position and the Four of Wands is in the foundation. But it doesn't have to be. This could also be any type of meeting with an individual that you've seen eye to eye with. Could be with regards to business or some kind of collaboration. But this reading definitely has other people in it. I'm not seeing this as just something about you right now. There's definitely what I'm feeling is that you are being triggered in a particular way by another individual, and it's making you see things about yourself that you might not have had access to, or more than that, it's like the way another individual's energy is interacting with yours in a way that you might have felt really aligned with them, and maybe even like kind of building in your consciousness some kind of idea of a potential of where this could go, what this could become. Something has shifted in you where you may now be feeling like actually, I'm actually really good in my own energy. Like in the Hopes and Fears quadrant, you have this really beautiful pairing of cards. I've never seen this before. I really like this. It's Nine of Pentacles upright with the High Priestess upright as well. And look, there's something really similar about the two characters in these two cards, and the way they are, the posture and the energy. There's something quite enigmatic about the characters in these two cards that feel like it's describing you at the moment, actually. And what I'm feeling is like this individual may not have been all that they were cracked up to be. Like you might have discovered something recently that has changed your mind from seeing this person as someone like really, there's almost a godlike energy here. Like you might have put this person on a pedestal. You might have like been seeing the best qualities of a person and like maybe building up a little bit of expectation and hope around what possibly could occur with the result of like this of a union or kind of energy kind of mingling with another person. And that might have led you to a point of realization where you might have discovered that this person isn't flawless. They may have exhibited some kind of behavior that made you feel like not I don't know if disappointed is the right word, but some kind of reality check happened to you where you saw what they actually really are, and you might have come out of a space of a little bit of a fantasy that you might have been projecting, and you kind of have seen something really realistic about them. And maybe they aren't as in alignment with you as you had thought at one point. But it's not a sad feeling. There is a realization of something very important that you have become aware of that if you had have missed could have been more devastating. I hope this is making sense. I'm not meaning to be dramatic here. I'm just really seeing the cards as for what they're sharing here. Now, in these two quadrants, so I kind of covered you and the hopes and fears there, and I pretty much covered all of this, but I'll come back around to that in a second. But what I want to say here is that in the quadrant of your environment, you have the 8 of Cups upright with the 7 of Pentacles upright. And then in the outcome, you have the 7 of Cups reversed with the 3 of Swords. So how I'm feeling this is that while there might have been this moment of realization about the truth of a person that is piercing through the veil of illusion that you may have been projecting through your maybe desires or unrealistic expectations or needs onto another person, you may be seeing that actually what's real is a person's humanness and their flaws, and it might have burst the bubble of any kind of delusion or kind of fantasy that you might have been pursuing internally. And that might be what this 3 of Swords is. It's not that this person has hurt you, it's that your realization of who they really are is not who you had projected them to be in the beginning, and that there's maybe some pain and tenderness around that, like understanding that you had put them in a pedestal position, or you may have projected your unrealistic expectations onto them. And while they haven't actually done necessarily anything to hurt you or disappoint you, it's your own realization that the way you thought about them or the way you had expected of them was unfair and unrealistic. And that's the pain that you're feeling now, is realizing that they're not who you had hoped that they were. But it's not actually their fault or anything they've done wrong. There's no reason to blame them. It's just your understanding is changing based on some kind of real life moment of seeing the humanity of a person. And then this 8 of Cups with the 7 of Pentacles is like, maybe you're realizing that you need to invest more in your own spiritual development, in your own emotional development. And that's kind of what I was seeing here with this High Priestess and 9 of Pentacles together in this hopes and fears quadrant. It's like you're realizing your own power and your own authority and your own potential of your personal growth, of your psychic and spiritual development, of your own mystical pursuits, right? Maybe that's what is kind of coming to light here out of all of this, is that maybe you have been investing too much in the idea of a romance or a relationship with someone and thinking that that's what you would use to build upon, to create a life with. But actually, you might be seeing here now that all the potential that you need is within you. Your spiritual development is the most important thing. Your cleansing, your activation, your awakening. This is the most important thing, right? Ace of Pentacles, that's the potential that you have to almost reinvent yourself, if you like. And it doesn't have to be anything to do with another person's interest in you or investment in you or, you know, relationship with you. This is about your relationship with yourself. You know, this Ace of Cups in reverse at the crowning card position of the reading is telling me that, like, whatever potential you had hoped for in a romantic relationship is maybe being shifted into a new space where you're realizing that the potential that you need, that you want for some new beginning is actually in you. And it's about you investing in your own development, in your own skills and talents, in your own wellness, in your own well-being, in your personal growth, in your spiritual development. Right? I kind of been everywhere around this reading except to these two central cards of the reading, which is interesting. So at the heart of the reading, you have Page of Wands in reverse, crossed by Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Again, how I'm seeing this is that maybe what you thought was a potential of a situation with another individual, you know, a person who you may have seen entering into your life and had maybe unconsciously or subconsciously or even consciously, but from the realm of fantasy and unrealistic expectation, had projected some ideas onto this person about love and romance and partnership and future and all this kind of stuff. And maybe this person showed you something about themselves that made you come into a reality check and see that you were projecting onto them and that wasn't what was really there. But that's helping you to see that what's really important actually is your own self, your own wellness, your own development. And that's what I'm seeing here in this spread. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. Right, 9 of Swords reversed, 9 of Cups reversed, 9 of Cups upright, and 3 of Cups, 3 of Wands upright. I really like this. Basically a summary of what I just said. So your unrealistic expectations and projections onto a situation, onto a person. We now have 3 9s in the reading. May have been causing some anxiety and tension as you had been kind of, you know, a little bit delusional and fantasizing about a situation that wasn't actually really there. And so either a person's behavior shifted, or somehow something in the circumstances changed and make you realize that what you thought was on offer was not really there. And what is on offer here is actually the potential for you to really turn your attention inward and stop trying to reach outwardly for things that will help you feel happy or well or satisfied, or any of the qualities that you seek to experience are not going to come about as a result of another person entering your life and forming some kind of union with you in any type of way. This is about you investing in your own wellness through your own time and effort put into the daily practices that are required for you to build self-esteem, build self-confidence, release the past, overcome resentment, fear, anxiety, and all those energies that are resistant, that are holding you back from actually having your best life, right? Three of Wands here with the 9 of Cups is saying, like, think like where do you want to be? Where are you going? Where are you going from here? How are you going to get there? What's important right now? What do you want to invest in? Do you have the patience to do so? Are you willing to put in the effort? This Wheel of Fortune at the heart of the reading is not about having some kind of stroke of luck. Wheel of Fortune is not about luck. I'm sorry. I don't see it that way. How I'm seeing this is that this is about you realizing that what it's going to take is your daily, persistent, consistent, patient effort into the projects and the rituals and the routines and the activities that are required to actually create happiness and wealth and development and career enhancement and improvement of talents and skills. That stuff doesn't just come by itself. There's not some like magic pill or trick or life hack that is going to get you there. It takes daily, consistent, persistent, patient effort, rinse and repeat. You got to put the work in every single day. All right, let's have a look here, see if there's anything else. I do really like this 9 of Pentacles with High Priestess in this Hopes and Fears quadrant. This is a really powerful combination for me. This is you realizing that your self-confidence is yours. There's also, as I said, 9 of Cups here in the reading. There's a lot of self-love in this reading. There's a lot of effort, energy in this reading, reminding you that, and the Queen of Cups as well is also very much about self-confidence, self-love, self-worth. And that what it takes is this investment in the self. You realizing that you already have everything that you need within you. It's about unpacking it. It's about addressing the things that are in the way of that. And that's your own resistance that's coming from fear or lack of ability to forgive and let go, lack of acceptance, like whatever those things are. It's the same for all of us. There's no like exemptions really. We're all dealing with the same stuff, right? So just keep looking at it and facing it and addressing it and resolving, striving to heal and let go and deal with all those things and not ignore them. Turning to face them is the way to overcome. 2 aces in your reading, 2 3s in your reading, 3 9s in the reading, 2 kings are here. I really like this spread. I do feel that for some of you, you may have experienced a painful moment or a difficult moment in recent times where maybe what you thought was a love interest or a love offer turned out to be not that. But it's about looking at it in a different way and seeing the potential that's being revealed to you. Like, what is your universe showing you about yourself that you can really take advantage of in order to catapult yourself forward into greater wholeness? Every situation is like that. Every situation has that kind of potential to show us where we may be lacking in self-confidence and self-love, and where and how we may still be holding resistance or resentment or issues around self-worth. Always strive to find those blind spots and shine light on them. All right, we're going to take the Voyager deck now. I'm already shuffling. I'm going to do your higher octave spread. Hopefully provide a little bit more insight in what may be conditions that we are unable to see, any blind spots that maybe need to be revealed. We're going to see if your guides can provide any more practical insight on how to best deal with the energies that are at play to make the most out of the lessons that are on the table. So please send your energy into the deck. Again, bring all of your presence. Set aside any distractions and really tune into the messages that I do for you. One more shuffle. Alright. Queen of Wands is at the bottom of the deck. Nine of Crystals in reverse. It's the same card that we have here, Nine of Swords. It's also in the same orientation. Six of Crystals reversed. Crystals are the swords in this deck. There's the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. She's here in this reading as well. Child of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles. Eight of Wands reversed. Five of Wands upright. The Star. Hanged Man, interesting. Five of Pentacles reversed. Chariot reversed. Four of Wands we had in the previous reading. Death reversed. Three of Cups reversed. And Ace of Wands reversed. Alright. Just give me a second here to tune in. So two fives. From the major arcana, we have the Star and the Hanged Man, both upright. Chariot in reverse, Death in reverse. Alright. What I feel is here, like this, the first spread to me felt a lot more like your higher self giving you a really clear insight into what was actually on offer as far as like in a challenging situation, what's actually really the potential in there. In this reading, I feel like there's a little bit more of a shrouded energy around that. Like there's still, it's almost like these readings are reversed. This is maybe more of a general earthly reading, and the first reading feels more like the higher octave reading in the way that I normally experience it. So what I'm feeling in this spread is that you may still be in a space of feeling like a lot of disappointment and angst and anguish about things not working out in the way that you had hoped, in the way that things appeared to be going in a certain direction as far as a new romance or a new opportunity opening up, whether that was a person or a job or some other kind of situation that was new and that looked really exciting and really promising. And you're seeing it as bad luck or things not working out, or you somehow maybe being a victim of a situation that feels unfair, or you feeling like a sense of lack or missing out, or some kind of like difficult situation where you feel like this is not how it should have been turned out. Okay, that's what I feel in this reading. But the same underlying message is still here. It's like there is a huge opportunity here for you to realize your potential and your power by seeing what's actually really there in terms of the places where you're experiencing resistance, where you may be feeling like the circumstances that are playing out are not how they should be. It's the way for you to see where in your energy you are still holding maybe resentment or the inability to forgive and let go from some. It doesn't have to be any specific situation either. It just could be something in your energetic matrix that is pushing energy out into the universe and bringing you back a feedback loop to show you that truth, or what you're believing to be true, right? But what's potential here is for you to see that there's you're being illuminated with higher understanding of what you're actually projecting out into the universe, and how you can change the script and rewrite your story to make things feel differently. But it's more about what you have to let go of rather than what you need to do different as far as what you're bringing in, if that makes sense, right? I think there's something here about like the way you communicate internally. There's something here about your inner dialogue that's being highlighted in this spread. The Nine of Swords in both readings is very interesting. I think overthinking may be a little bit of an issue for you. I think there's a little bit of practical insight here from your higher self saying like, just let go a little bit from the need to overthink things, from the need to over-process information. Just give your psyche, your mind, your higher self a little bit more room to breathe, to actually create more awareness for you. Like if you can release from the tendency to want to overthink everything and find the solution by, mentally processing information and overcome the need to do that, and just leave space for awareness to actually literally drop into your consciousness. That will also help relieve some of the tension in the circumstances that you're feeling, because your higher self is always trying to communicate with you and reveal and illuminate information. So if you can create space, and that's really the function of meditation, is to actually create a space to overcome some of the overthinking part and create a space for wisdom and higher self information to actually just be dropping into your consciousness. That will provide what you need to help you resolve and move forward in the circumstances, to heal and to overcome and understand what it is that you're actually really experiencing here, and why, if that's necessary. So again, you have, it's interesting, in the previous reading in this hopes and fears quadrant, you had this power couple, Nine of Pentacles and High Priestess. It's very interesting. And now in this reading, you have this two cards which are kind of also very similar in each other, like Five of Pentacles in reverse with the Death card reversed. Both of these cards speak about loss, devastation, death, transformation. So again, in this reading, I feel like there is some like expression of energy here that's kind of saying like you may not yet be at the point where you actually understand that the situation that you're going through is really beneficial in your journey. It may not be pleasant at all. It may not be what you had hoped for and what you thought was coming in, but it's actually beneficial to you in that it's helping you to see and find the places within you where there is still some stagnant energy that is creating resistance, that is creating a lack of consciousness, or creating like a blockage, or not, I don't want to use the word blockage. Places where you may not be aware of things that you believe to be true that are in your unconscious mind, that are acting out in your reality. And that's part of what this circumstances that you're experiencing, is that you're actually getting to see how your psyche is working. And that's being illuminated so that you can actually rewrite your programming, so that you can release that old way of thinking and feeling and doing, to bring in an era, a time when you're actually like a little bit more pure and clear in your expression, in your communication to the universe, in a way that is much more on point in the direction of the path that you are moving into, and as the person you are becoming is evolving and becoming more refined and more I'm hearing precious, but it's more, the feeling I'm getting is more like it's just a refinement of your energy, kind of becoming a little bit more clear and more in focus. That's what I feel with this Nine of Swords. Some of it does have to do with overthinking and anxiety, but I feel like it's much more about just narrowing the focus of your intentions and your energy that you're sending out, so that it's actually much more clear about what you're really generating and creating. What else is here? Okay, so in this quadrant we have the Hangman with the Three of Cups in reverse. This is your environment. So again, this feels to me like speaking on the very kind of earthly matters that we touched on in the first reading, with regard to maybe the circumstance that you're dealing with is I'm hearing forlorn. Maybe a love opportunity that you saw coming towards you didn't pan out in the way that you thought it was going to go. Like maybe there's some disappointment and loss around a romantic possibility that turned out to not be anything. And here it's talking about, with the Hangman, Three of Cups reverse. This in this deck is called love. The Three of Cups is called love in this deck. In reverse, so it's like the offer may not be actually what you had thought. So with the Hangman, how I feel that is, I'm hearing composure. So I feel like in this situation, this is a specific message. I feel like for someone, or for some of you watching this reading, what you're learning about is self-respect. So maybe a person behaved a certain way towards you that you felt was disrespectful, but perhaps what you're seeing is that you disregarded the clues and the signs and the tells that this person was giving off, and you chose to disregard that because you saw what you wanted to see in a certain way that fit the picture of the fantasy that you were portraying or perpetrating, right? And so there's something here about you realizing that there is something here to be learned about self-respect, and I hear self-aggrandizement as well. Maybe you put too much, maybe you, like as I said in the earlier reading, you might have put someone on a pedestal. And in doing so, you're actually, it's not about the love that you have for them or the respect that you have for them, but it's in some way reinforcing the ways that you may not feel equal with others, or you may not feel as worthy as others. And that's a dangerous energy to put out. It's like if you put someone on a pedestal, it's a long way for them to fall, and it's also going to be a disappointment for you to realize that that person's human and they're not perfect. Nobody is. So back to the Hangman here. I feel simply that that's what the Hangman is representing here in this reading, is that illumination or that awakening or realization that what energy you may have been pulsing out into the universe and how it showed itself back to you to help you understand that specific point. It's going to be different for everybody. But whatever it is that you were projecting onto a certain person or onto an environment or onto a circumstance that turned out to be disappointing, is what you need to understand is something that you may have misread in a situation or misappropriated or had some kind of unrealistic expectation or delusion or fantasy about. And that's where you need to adjust here and clarify and clear with the Hangman and Star. It's not about like not being a dreamer. The Star is saying wishes come true, like dream all you want, but there's something about realizing what's actually honestly potential in a situation and not being false about that, not being unrealistic about that. And at the same time, it's purifying your own energetic field, your auric field, your thoughts and your aspirations to become in alignment with what you are seeing as a potential and without any dissonance. And the work of healing and resolving the dissonance is where we need to shine a light on places where we have resistance, where we have lack, where we have resentment or anger or fear or self-loathing or any of those things. That's the place to work here. And that's what this circumstance here is showing up to help you see, is where those pockets are that you need to see and find within you. Bottom of the deck, Queen of Wands upright, Six of Wands in reverse, Ten of Pentacles in reverse, and Lovers in reverse. There's Four of Cups in reverse. I'm going to take that too. This is basically a summary of what I just said. So in this situation, you may be feeling a little bit disheartened now, and you may be feeling a little discouraged. You may be feeling at a loss for like what you thought was, you might have been working on law of attraction stuff till now. This might have been like a really cool experiment for you, where you were seeing the results of some really intensive effort and practice that you've been putting into a certain manifestation, right? And the point here is not to get disheartened, not to disregard all of that, not to throw it all to the side and say this is bullshit. It's not. It does work, but you're needing to see where you have still got work to do, right? Queen of Wands here is showing you that you are that empowered person, as we had here with the Nine of Pentacles and the High Priestess in the previous reading. I'm seeing all this really empowered divine feminine energy, and gender is not the point here. It's just about your growing awareness of those, like the etheric. You get kind of gaining mastery of an etheric kind of type of awareness or manifestation, right? Whereas masculine energy is a little bit more of a physical thing. Point is here, you're still learning and you're still growing. And while you may have been pursuing actively a specific experiment that you were working on that showed up, feeling like this is the affirmation that you've been waiting for a long time to show you that you know what you're doing, and you're actually very masterful in a certain way, in a certain kind of practice of manifestation or of law of attraction stuff. But inevitably, no matter how flawless you are or how good you are at it, you're always going to find at times, not every situation, but there will be moments where things show up that help you see where you still do have some stagnancy inside, or some unrealized places within you that you might still be holding old energy or stagnant energy, or an old emotional pattern that still has yet to be illuminated. And that's what this work is about. It's showing you where that is and how to find it and locate it specifically so that you can extract. So don't be disheartened by what you might have seen as a disappointing result of some kind of experiment or practice that you've been working on. It's not that. It's really not that. It's just, there's always going to be, in your progress, when you make, in life, as we're going to pursue this journey of awakening and illumination, there will be always moments where things may not turn out perfectly how you had imagined. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It doesn't mean you don't deserve it. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're paying back some karmic debt or whatever. It's not about that. It's just about constantly rising up to meet the opportunities that we're receiving to show us where we still have work to do. And that's no indication of you being not worthy or not good enough or any of that stuff. It's just, it's endless. Even after we say goodbye to this body, that work continues. So don't get disheartened. You're on the right path. You're doing very well. There's a lot of encouraging energy in this reading, showing you that you are really rising up to meet the challenges that face you and succeeding in the face of many challenges and adversity. So carry on. Good work. Thank you so much, Aries, for watching. That's your reading for this month. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you. I hope you found some things in there that you can work with. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next reading.